Hello, this is Dr. Brianna Willie, and this is my channel, Business for Nerds. Why did I name the show Business for Nerds? Because I'm a nerd. I enjoy and love sci-fi, video games, reading fantasy. I also love to talk about all things business. And as I'm learning, I want to grow and collaborate with other business owners. So welcome, Business Nerds. I'm interviewing entrepreneurs so we can mutually support each other in business and grow together. And today I'm talking with Kathy Enriquez. Oh, I should have asked you. How do I say your last name?
It's actually pronounced wing or
Wing,
Nguyen. Yeah, or wing. Yeah.
Nguyen, or which do you prefer?
I prefer wing.
Okay,
Awesome.
Kathy Enriquez Win.
Yes. Awesome.
And I'm neurodivergent, so it's going to take me a little while. So if I ever say it wrong, just correct me. It's just my brain has trouble with names for some reason. I don't know why.
It's all good. Don't worry about it.
Okay, thank you. You're
Yeah.
so understanding and forgiving. Okay. All right. So yeah, the first question I often ask, well, first, how are you? Are you doing okay?
Yeah, no, I'm doing great actually. How about you?
Good. Yeah, I'm pretty good. Now I'm in creative mode. I feel like I'm getting in alignment with that. Let's see. And then the next thing is, what do you nerd out about?
Oh my gosh. Like so many things.
Mhm.
Anime, video games, Dungeons and Dragons is like my new obsession. I love it so much. Uh, I don't know, just writing, anything sci-fi, fantasy. Gosh, yeah.
Love
The
it.
list just goes on.
Good. And
Yeah.
I love happy rabbit holes. So feel free to take us down a happy rabbit hole like about a video game or Dungeons and Dragons. I've not actually played that. The most I know of it is Stranger Things. I know I'm a nerd and I should have been into that, but for some reason I haven't yet. And it's not because I haven't been part of it. It's just like I probably haven't discovered the beauty of it. So what do you want to,
Yeah.
what do you want to talk about with your nerd out stuff?
Oh gosh. Well, I mean, first I'm not gonna fault you for that because like I've also been like, like well, I guess like a long time nerd, I guess too, right? But like I actually never got into D&D until January of last year.
Oh,
Yeah, so it's
okay.
always been on my radar. Like I've heard of it. I know what it's about. I just never actually got into it until one of my friends was like, "Hey, like he went up to my husband and I and he's like, "You guys seem like you might be interested." We're like, "Oh, hells yeah, we are." He's like, "Well, I'm like, I'm the DM." And yeah, he set up some one shots for us and now it's like seeped into every part of our lives. Every time we watch a movie, we're like, oh yeah, no, that person definitely wrote a crit. Like they wrote a nat 20, or that person failed so hard they wrote a nat 1. Like you just start picking up on like little stuff like that. And yeah, we have like a
Oh,
very creative group as well too. Like some of us in the group draw, some of us like even do like written role play. Some are even writing novels, and I'm actually starting a
I
novel
saw
for
that.
my character. Yeah.
Uh-huh.
So there's that going on too. It's been a rabbit hole and I haven't managed to get out of it. It just gets deeper and deeper.
Why do you need to get out of it? That's my whole like to build happiness in our lives, I think we need to be in rabbit holes sometimes, like happy rabbit holes.
Kinda do, right? Kinda do.
Yes, and this stage of my life as I'm getting older, I'm now like I need to actually put boundaries around happy rabbit holes and just hang out, in
Yeah.
this. So I think, yeah, I love it. I love it.
Yeah.
Let's see, what video games do you play usually?
So, I mean, currently we're kind of back on Stardew Valley, which is like our second playthrough, like our second save file. It's very addicting. It's like a farming simulator, a little bit of like a dating sim, I guess. Yeah, yeah. So
Oh,
we just couch co-op it. So we've been kind of playing that. I also have Diablo 4 on the go. I think I'm
uh,
just starting up Act 3, I think, but I've been taking a break from it and little bit of
Mhm.
Animal Crossing. That's just some of the stuff I'm playing right now. But um, like
Cool.
some games I really love are like God of War, Ghost of Tsushima. Yeah, Zelda. I love the Zelda series.
Really?
Yeah,
So cool. I
yeah.
love
But you,
it.
right? Other games. You mentioned you like a video games too. So
I
like,
do. I'm
what
a computer gamer, and but I'm usually behind on the tech. You would think I'm up on the tech, but not with like video games. So I kind of do the old school stuff. Like I love this old game called Thief. So have you ever heard of that?
no, I
Thief
haven't.
Deadly Shadows, Thief what is it called? And again, I'm terrible with names. So names of things too. The Metal Age, I think, is one.
Nice.
So those old school games, they're like sneaking games, and you have to steal things, and it's really fun, and it's so old school, and it looks awful on the screen, but it's so immersive for some reason. For my husband and I are really into those kinds of things,
That's
and then
awesome.
thanks. Um, Fallout 2, I really
Nice.
enjoy Fallout, so I'm playing the mod, which combined New Vegas and Fallout 3. So playing that again.
Nice.
So
Hey, nothing wrong with
Witcher,
that.
yeah, Witcher 3, I love. Anyway, I could go down a rabbit hole with all that, but
That's so
anyway.
awesome. Old games are great though. Like they don't
Mhm.
make them like they used to. I mean, I know like a lot of games like, outdated graphics and such, but like I always like revisit them. Like Donkey Kong is kind of mine. And
Oh
I'll always
yeah.
go back and I will be like that soundtrack just slaps, like it's such a good soundtrack.
Yes. I love Donkey Kong.
Yeah.
Yeah, I wish we need to get something so we can play the older games with our updated we have some updated tech, you know. I've looked into that but just haven't bought it yet. But anyway,
Yeah.
um I could talk about this stuff for hours.
Oh,
But
right.
let's get into your writing and all the things you're working on. So let's see here. What should I ask you first? I have asked my GPT to help me come up with some questions too.
Hey, it
Um,
helps, right? It's a good
yeah.
tool. It's a very
Uh-huh.
good tool.
I just started using that last month.
Yeah.
Anyway, so you write a lot about kitties and cats, and I love cats. I have two. I have an awesome picture I need to send you of my cat who
Oh,
looks
yes.
possessed in this picture. Her eyes are lit. I'm gonna post it on Substack and tag you.
Ooh, yeah. I would love to see that.
But anyway, so tell us about what you do and what you write and all those awesome things.
Yeah, so writing was actually something I never thought I would ever do. Like it's something that I've always done since I was a kid. Like I remember like in third grade, I was always just like writing like little like, fictional stories and all that kind of stuff. But then you grow out of it, right? And then, adulting happens and
Mm-hmm.
careers and shit like that. So like I was an accountant for like 10 years at a really big law firm. And I went from that. And then I went to recruiting to a tech company. And then we all know what happened with the layoffs. And that's how I landed here. It was actually one of my friends, Lamar Ramos. He's also on Substack. So
Mm-hmm.
shout out to him. He's just like, why don't you just, like do stuff you like, like turn it into a career or something like that, right? Like try it out. And then, if you don't like it, you don't like it. If you do, great. So yeah, he was kind of like the person that kind of like pushed me in like that direction. So, and
Neat.
then yeah, it was one thing after another. And then like I just fell in love with it. And I was like, I don't want to do anything else now but right. Yeah.
Good.
Yeah. So it's kind of like, yeah. So I kind of just got back into like it all. Like I had to like relearn a lot of stuff, like grammar, the basics, right? Like
I
you
hear
gotta
it.
like, yeah. So it's
Mm-hmm.
just like stuff like that. And I tried like different styles and all that kind of stuff too, just to see what I would like. And yeah, I've kind of just landed on the whole like just like fiction, poetry, and
Mm-hmm.
just kind of been going with that. And like the more professional stuff, I would probably say I love doing web copies. I've done a few of them for some people already, and I find like they're quite
Yeah.
fun.
Okay.
Yeah,
Hey,
super fun. Yeah,
it's all about fun.
yeah,
I love
exactly.
it.
Yeah.
So web copy. So that's for like websites,
Hmm.
that kind of thing. Okay.
Yeah. Yeah.
Cool.
Yeah, like
Cool.
nothing big, but like I enjoy it, and it does pay a bit, so and it lets me continue the other stuff too. So yeah, it doesn't take it
Yes.
away, right? It doesn't shift my focus as much.
I love that.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's still in the realm of what you love to
Yeah.
do, and you love different aspects of it, but it helps pay
Yeah.
the bills.
Yes.
Yes, I hear you. I hear you. Yes, I'm still just rediscovering my love of writing, myself, and I totally hear you. So you went from kind of focusing on numbers and tech types of work, and
Yeah.
then getting into more the creative with writing. So, and I
Yeah.
hear what you're saying, learning a new or relearning a language. It was numbers, now it's more,
Yeah,
words. Yeah.
exactly. Yeah, it's very
Mhm.
different. You could kind of go in from like emailing, like in a corporate
Yes.
world to, now more like creatively and all that kind of stuff. So like I have written blogs for like companies, like some like my random clients have hired me to do it. And it's kind of like, okay, well this is all right. It's a lot more fun than just writing emails, but
Yeah. Yeah, blogging. Yeah,
yeah.
definitely more fun. But yeah, this next part of my life focused on fun. Sounds like you're focused on fun too in your work.
Yeah, you kind of have to. I think we've done our time, like
Uh-huh.
we've been punished enough. It's time to move on.
I love that. We've been punished enough.
Yeah.
And then being ourselves in our work, I think that's so important,
hmm
with writing, with whatever we're doing, being able to be us.
Oh yeah,
Hmm.
100%. Yeah, and it's one of the
Yeah.
few things that still allows us to be us, right?
Hmm.
Yeah.
So I've read some of your poems about kitties, and I think some of the recent ones were about Christmas and messing with the tree. Those were adorable.
Oh yeah.
I love that.
Thanks.
Um,
Glad you like them.
I do. They're so fun. And they're kind of from, and I haven't read it in a little bit. I think it was like maybe a couple weeks ago, but I think it's from the perspective of your cat.
Yes.
Is that right?
All of them are actually. And
I
actually
love
what
it.
my book is so I started with, like a haiku thing, and so I just was writing haikus just for fun, but it was from my cat's point of view. And I turned that into a book. I'm like, well, why not take that and have her write poetry, and I can have her write horror or like fantasy, so I'm kind of like branching out. So now I'm kind of turning into like a series of just her writing.
That's so
Yeah.
cool. Yeah. And that's called the Catacombs or
Yeah.
okay.
Yeah.
Neat. Neat. And I haven't had a chance yet to read. I'm jumping all over the place. I'm neurodivergent. I think I said that. So I
Mhm.
tend to jump
All
from
good.
place to place.
I do the same thing too. So like I
Okay.
haven't really gone tested for it, but like I know a lot of like my friends have said I am too, so maybe I am. I don't know. But I don't have anything like official to say it. So
It's okay. You
yeah.
you just you noticed.
Yeah.
Um, yeah, so if I go down a rabbit trail you would not like to be on, you just redirect me.
Cool.
Okay.
You do the same too.
Okay. Got it. What was I going to say? Oh, yeah. So you were talking about D&D and you're writing a little backstory about your character too. So jump
Yeah.
into that. You said too that if you're sharing it and it's not going to really throw anyone off because you're far enough into the game.
Yeah.
Are you able to share anything about that, or do you want to keep it mysterious?
That would depend. So I think the
You're okay
hardest
if you
part
don't
is
want
yeah.
to.
So like I know so like with like our like the whole backstory was so like yeah so like what's written like right now has already been like reviewed, like my character has already reviewed during gameplay, and even
Okay.
if like the characters don't know themselves, the players do know the background, right? Because like so like the whole thing with tabletop like RPG is that you can have different conversations. So like you can have a conversation with another character, but it's what you tell them, like the characters, so that they only know that part. But the players around the table have heard everything, right? So it's kind of yeah. So you want to
Oh,
put your shoes in like the characters. So like yeah, even though like they don't know it, the players themselves do know. So
Oh.
Yeah, so I try to like release the chapters like slowly. That way, like there's certain
Oh.
things that like I haven't revealed yet as a character, right? That
Sure.
yeah, so it's kind of like you want to. I don't know. We like the element of surprise. I was notorious though when I first joined. Like I just love to like tell everyone. I was like, oh my god, I have something planned for my character, and they're like, no, 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 don't tell me, don't tell me. And I'm like, what do you mean? I'm so excited. Just let me tell you.
Oh. Can you, because I
Yeah,
haven't read yet what you have released. Is
yeah.
that okay to talk about or
Yeah.
okay.
So it's just like so it's her backstory. So I play a
Mhm.
like a tiefling. So like they're kind of like, you know, like half human, half demon type thing. So like they have like demonic features like horns and
Mm.
they have a tail and all that. And they come in
Mhm.
different colors. So mine's purple. So like
Oh.
her whole backstory is that because everyone has to have a tragic backstory apparently. You know, mine
Oh.
was, you know, she was a child. She grew up in a brothel and because she carries the cursed bloodline. So like there's like this whole thing about like the demon king in our homebrewed world. So
Oh.
yeah, so like she kind of carries that bloodline and kind of like just in general, like her kind. If the moment they get seen by someone, they kind of get like eradicated, right? They get killed on the spot. So you know,
Oh.
like they someone found out that, you know, there's a cursed youngling, you know, growing up at a brothel. So they came and they tried to find her. They burnt the entire place down. That's when she realized that fire doesn't hurt her because she's because of her infernal heritage, you know, like fire doesn't hurt her, right? So
Oh.
like for gameplay, you only take like half damage type thing. But yeah, in the story is that that's what happened, and she managed to get away. She kind of just grew up in the woods by herself, and there's a
Oh.
little bit of info that only one character knows, so I can't really say it, but because the
Sure,
rest of the
don't.
table doesn't
Yeah.
know.
Don't reveal things that you
Yeah.
yeah.
Yeah,
Or I'll edit
but
it out
yeah,
later. Just let me
exactly. Yeah, thanks. But yeah, she ends up taking the path of the samurai because like the class I picked was samurai fighter. So just that's just her fighting style, and I'm
Neat.
also multi-classing like barbarian, so there's like a lot of like rage elements, right? So I kind of take like the rage elements and tie it into like, you know, like stuff that she hasn't really dealt with properly since she was a child, you know, like watching her mother die, you know, like everyone else
Oh.
around her, right? Like all the ladies who like that worked at the brothel who helped raise her, they all died, you know?
Oh.
And like being on the run for like her whole entire life and kind of like being very, you know, like excluded from society. She kind of acts like a certain way too. So yeah, that's kind of like her backstory.
Neat. It
Yeah.
sounds like it has many layers. She sounds like a complex character. Very
Yeah.
interesting.
Definitely. So
Yeah.
I kind of have control over some of the elements and then whatever else our DM does as well too, because he'll add stuff to my character as well too as we go
Ah,
along. So then like I'll just go back and I'll rewrite certain parts. I'm like, oh yeah, I'll add this detail in and all
yeah.
that. Yeah.
Cool. And it's like a happy creative rabbit hole that
Yeah,
you're in. I love
exactly.
it. Good. And what does a DM mean?
So they're the dungeon master. Yeah.
Oh.
So they're like or like a game master. So they're the ones basically they're running the show. They manage all the players in the group. They come up with all the NPCs, which monsters you're gonna fight. And then it also like
Interesting.
depending on the style too, because some people will use existing materials that's already been created in like the whole D&D world. And then there's some where so like with ours, like the whole thing is completely homebrewed. So it's like it's his world. So like that's kind of why I give him like full credit for it because everything that happens in this whole campaign basically came out of his head. So yeah, so like all the names of like the NPCs and all that, it's all his. Now they all belong to him. He carries the team. So yeah,
Huh.
yeah. So only our
Neat.
characters are our own, but everything else is his.
Wow.
Yeah.
And since I know like nothing, how do you interact? How do you, so it's like a board game. Is that, or how does this work?
Yes and no. So there's really no physical board game. So
Oh, okay.
everyone has like a different setup. So with our setup is that everything's on like a TV screen. So like our DM has
Oh.
like a TV on on the table, and we have like
Mhm.
our minis. So like we have like little 3D printed minis of our characters that we use to kind of like move across the map. So I guess it's kind of like the map of where you're in right now. So let's say uh, the party travels to a temple. So then on the screen you'll see like kind of like the floor layout of what the temple is, and they kind of like move around and all that kind of stuff, and then we can kind of gauge of how far they can move, because like obviously like some characters can only move like say 30 feet, some can move 40 feet, right, depending on what you have, so that you can kind of move your character like a certain distance, just so like you can kind of like, yeah, that's how like battles will work.
Hmm.
And like he puts a lot of work in, so like a lot of things are like 3D printed, right, like all like the enemies, the backdrops, like all like the terrains and stuff, like all that is made, and then we just kind of move our
Wow.
characters around in it. So that's kind of, but there's really no like physical board game, like not
I
like your
see.
traditional kind. Yeah.
Yeah, but it's virtual sort of, but then
Yeah, it's like very
physical too.
physical. Yeah. So it's
Mhm.
like, yeah, it's very interesting. And how you
Yeah.
play is everyone has their stat sheet. So how you build your character, your class, you have different stats, right? So like if you're a fighter, obviously you hit harder. If you're a wizard, you have magic features, right? Like, and you stay far enough, you try not to hit someone because you're extremely squishy. You can die very easily, right?
Oh,
But you
no.
hit hard, right? Because you're yeah, it's kind of like weird. Whereas like with a fighter, like I built mine, like she's a tank, so like she can take on. Like she has a lot of health.
Smart.
Yeah, she's a
Yeah.
pain in the ass to fight. To be honest, um,
Good. You built her well.
right? Yeah, and which also
Mhm.
ties into the story. So like our group is very like story driven. So like a lot of the things that we do as characters and our moves is very tied into like how they were growing up type thing.
Mm.
Um, so like, and you kind of like talk to each other. Um, yeah, it's like very weird. So like, it's like, oh hey, I'm gonna, so like the DM were like, hey, you guys walk into a temple. There's, you know, like there's like 6 columns on each side. It's vast. He'll describe it to you almost in like a very storytelling kind of way. And then he's like, and then he'll be like, well, what do you guys want to do? And then depending on what your character's personality is, sometimes they're like, well, I'm just gonna hang back here and just you stay safe because I'm a cautious person. And then you have like, your uh dim-witted barbarians and fighters who will run in and be like, "Oh, I want to touch everything," right?
So maybe some of
Yeah,
our like if I was in it, my personality would be coming out too. Like, oh, I
yeah,
gotta go like
exactly.
test
Yeah,
everything.
yeah, you realize that some of your personality won't come through your characters, like no matter how you write them, you kind of notice that like it seeps into it a little bit. So like yeah, and yeah, so you gotta just like do that, and it's like, oh, then you accidentally like trigger something, and then a fight happens, and then everyone like rolls for the order that they fight in, and then you can like do really fancy stuff. So like you can like describe your kills or like how you're gonna attack someone. So you can really get into it if you really want.
Yeah.
Yeah. So it's
It's like you're
again
writing a
it's
novel together.
exactly. So kind of it almost kind of goes together of being like a writer as well
Yeah.
too, because like it helps fuels that creativity, right? So like you're always
Yep.
just thinking that way.
Yes. I think well
Yeah.
actually one of my the prior person that's I'm working on their podcast episode now, they were talking about a similar thing and I was like, everyone's talking about this. Like, I need to learn more, And
Yeah.
they were talking about writing the backstories and all that kind of stuff. I'm like, this is intriguing.
That's awesome. I love when you like find people like that in the wild. Like
Uh-huh. I love it. So
yeah.
cool. So it
Yeah.
aligns. It aligns with what you're working on
Yeah.
too. Very
Definitely.
cool. Yeah,
Yeah.
and it's fueling your creativity with your blog and with
Yeah.
writing about the backstory and sharing it
Mhm.
with others in snippets so you don't reveal too much to the
Yeah.
to your party. Is that what it's called?
Yeah.
Okay, cool. Very, very cool. So let's see. Well, what do you want to talk about? What do you want to tell us about with your work?
Oh, well, I have like some projects I wanna work on, like I have planned for like this year. Just because like I write like a lot of like horror short stories. Like I know we've been in one together for
Mhm.
Beyond Stories there with Alex.
Yes,
Yeah, which was
yes.
like super awesome. I still need to get through that. I'm slowly picking away at it.
Yeah, I just read
Yeah.
yours. Now, I read on your blog that I was confused about the ghostwriter thing. Again, words sometimes get stuck in my brain. So what does that mean? Who wrote that story? Was that you or your mother?
Goes. Mm, no. I think mine was uh I think mine was the Even in Death one.
Okay, because
Yeah.
I read a blog and I think I got confused. So your mother
Oh
wrote one of the stories?
no, my mom doesn't write. My mom
Oh,
doesn't even
okay.
know English.
Okay. How did I don't know what happened. Anyway, start over. Let me ask
Okay.
you.
Oh,
Okay, what story did you write?
I wonder if so I kind of go off with two personalities on my blog, so sometimes it could be confusing. So it's probably me writing as my cat Nezuko,
Oh.
and she's probably saying, "Oh, my mummy stupidly did this" or
Oh,
something like that. So I I
that's
think
what
I'm
it
the mother.
was. I thought you were saying your mother wrote the story. And I'm like, oh, well, I just read it then, and it was awesome. It really was. Um, and I don't want to reveal too much. When I'm gonna do the last review soon. I'm trying to because
Mhm.
I don't know if you saw my first two reviews of the book.
I'm halfway through the first part. The first
Okay,
video you put up, yeah, I still have the second one bookmarked, but I did make it through like the first half of it, so I'm
I
like
know
just like
they're
working my
long.
way through,
I'm
yeah.
long-winded. I go on tirades. But anyway,
Hey,
I'm
it's all
gonna get
good.
yours, but yours was awesome. It really
Thank
was.
you.
I got sucked in and I forgot to take notes. I got so sucked into the story. So
Oh, okay.
very good. You're excellent. Thank you so much. It was awesome.
Oh, thank you, thank you. Yeah.
So anyway, you can talk about it now.
Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah. Yeah, sure. Yeah, so because I write a lot of that. I also want to put together my own horror anthology. So I kind of have
Oh,
that. I do have enough stories now. Like a lot of them are on Substack, but I'm gonna work with like an editor. So I'm gonna find an editor to kind of like because like obviously like when you kind of like write your own, you don't really see things how like from like
yeah.
an outside view. So like sometimes you have stuff where like it maybe would sound better if it was in a different spot, stuff like that.
Yep.
Grammar, punctuations, because you sometimes don't even notice it when you're the one writing it, even no matter how many times you edit it.
Hmm.
Yeah,
I
the
just
moment you
read
press
mine and I
send,
was
yeah,
like,
you
oops.
yeah, oops. Like, how did I miss that? Like, all right, cool. Well, it is what it is now.
It's already been printed. I have it
Yeah,
physically right here. Oops.
yep. Whoops. But it happens, right? So yeah, but
Hmm.
yeah, so I got a ton out already. So I have enough to put together one, but I would like to also add in like illustrations as well. So kind of like just like creepy pen drawings, like like the dark gothy
Yes.
type drawings. Yeah, I kind of want to add in just like a couple of those into the book before I like publish it. So I do have that. I'm working
Neat.
on the second book to so the first one was What If Cats Wrote Haikus. I'm now working on What If Cats Wrote Poetry. So like if you've been kind of like following on like Substack or even like Blue Sky, you'll see me kind of like post some of my like work in progress drawings.
It's awesome. That's
Yeah.
really cute.
Yeah.
I
So I've
love
just
it.
been like doing that. It's like it's cute, right? And I
Hmm.
do want to do a third one for that series called What If Cats Wrote Horror? Because, well, I love horror and I love cats, and the two kind of go
Hmm.
together. So why not? So I have that. So I have three books on my own that I'm working on top of a collab project I'm working with. So
Neat.
his name is Dory Davison Revel. So we're working on it's called Para Shorts, which is kind of like we're trying to debunk an urban myth here where we are actually. So it's a Calgary urban myth that's kind of
Yeah.
like been going on since like I want to say like the 70s or something like that, even like a little bit further than that. So it was a pretty big thing here, and at one point during the 90s, a lot of people thought it was on the show called unsolved mysteries. But turns out it
Mm,
wasn't. It was actually called it was called Haunted Past or something, or Haunted Lives or something like that. It was a completely different show with the
mm.
same feel as Unsolved
I
Mysteries. But we
loved
all
unsolved mysteries.
right, me too. It was
Uh-huh.
so creepy.
Yes.
Yeah. Yeah, but then you had to like catch it, right? But then obviously like back
Mhm.
then, because TV was weird back then, you can't just like turn on like
Uh-huh.
just hop on Netflix and then go back like, like
I
15 years just
know.
to find that episode. You had to wait for that rerun to happen. So like sometimes you just kind of had to, accept what your friends said they heard, right? So
Uh-huh.
it's kind of like it's stuff like that that's just kind of been passed down from generation to generation. So we're
Yes.
trying to debunk it. So
Hmm.
it's like a lot of like research and all that kind of stuff. So yeah, we're kind of working on that project
Oh, those
together.
are the
It's
best.
yeah, it's been super fun and it's almost done. We were hoping to get it done last year, but life happens.
Yes, of
Yeah,
course.
especially when you have like two authors and one they both have very different lives and all that kind of stuff, right?
Yes.
It's hard to like get it all done, but we're very, very close. Um,
Yay.
so yeah, yeah. So there's also that as well too. So yeah, lots of projects happening.
That's
Actually,
good.
yeah.
Wow. So you're a
Hmm.
busy bee with your writing. You're collaborating with others
Yeah,
on a number of things.
yeah,
That's so good. And I think that's so cool. I'm collaborating with a web designer right now for a workshop. And I find it so energizing to work with another person because I'm a solopreneur. You're
yeah,
sort of one too, it
yeah,
sounds like. But when
yeah.
you
Totally.
collaborate, it's like, oh, you get energized. Like you feel like, but someone's relying on me. So I actually got to get this done,
Yeah,
kind of thing too. And that helps my neurodivergence. Like, okay, I got to get this done.
yeah,
Yeah. But yeah, the energizing piece I think is really cool. Have you
yeah.
noticed that?
I
There's
have, which is kind of weird because I'm a pretty like introverted person as well
mm,
too. Like I need
mhm.
time away. Like after like any gathering, like I would need like a day off at least, right?
Yeah,
Yeah,
after this, I'm gonna go chill and stare at a wall
yeah,
for a while.
exactly
So
what I'm
I
gonna
love
do.
connecting with you, but I get like,
You get
yeah,
yeah. It's
you
like
know,
it's weird. So you get that energy and it feels really great. You get your creative juices going. You have good conversations. You get energized from it, like you just said. But then your social battery is now like
bed.
0%.
Let me go veg in front of the
Yeah.
TV. I can't even like play a video game right now. I need to just sit.
Yeah.
Yep, I totally hear you.
Yeah.
So it has its, energizing benefits, but then some drawbacks. Like, okay, I gotta go chill for a while
Mm.
now. Mm-hmm.
Yep.
Yep. Yep.
Totally.
That's why I have 3-day weekends.
Mm.
Uh-huh.
And you're a solopreneur, so you can make that
I
happen.
Yep.
You don't need to do the 5 days a week, 40 hours
Yep.
or more.
Uh-huh. When I
Hmm.
worked for this group, remain unnamed, I was like, when I run my own business, I am deleting Mondays. Mondays will be gone.
Yeah.
Though I still do stuff on Mondays, but I make sure it's like, things like I'm not going to be sitting and I have to work. Like it's
Yeah.
going to be things I want to do,
Yeah.
you know. So I think
Exactly. Yeah.
that
No, that's great.
yeah. Anyway, I try to stick with that. But anyway, back to you. Enough about me. Hi, my name is Dr. Brianna Willing. I'm a therapist and I run a private practice. I'm diversifying my income with building a coaching business, blogging, podcasting, and course creating. I get to create in my work while building a business I love, and I inspire others to create and build businesses they love too. Are you interested in being more authentic in your business? And do you want to step more into enjoying your work? Do you need help with setting better business boundaries? Do you like to nerd out about something? Or are you interested in growing beyond your current business and diversifying your income streams? Well, check out my podcast and blog for business building tips and strategies on substack.com at Dr. Brianna Willie. So, what other, let's see. Let's see. How do you like Substack? What do you think about it?
I loved it. I
Mhm.
still do. Even though right now I do have my gripes with it a little bit, just mainly on the notes section, right?
Yeah.
I don't know what they're trying to do. I totally get the whole experimenting phase, and I'm hoping it is just a phase.
Yeah.
Yeah, but
Growing
I
pains.
honestly, yeah, growing pains, exactly. Yeah, that's exactly what it is. Yeah, I've been in
Yeah.
a startup.
Right?
Um, yeah, but I
Yeah.
honestly though, I still really love it, and I love the fact that I did discover it because like it was such like I honestly think if like people like Shakespeare or whoever, if they were still alive today, to be able to have access to something like this that we do today, like I feel like their minds would just be blown. Right? It's just like, oh my
Yeah.
goodness, like yeah, there's like you can just literally just like publish something and like put it out there. I mean, which is scary in itself, but like, like but then like to have
Yeah.
like other builders to like help you like get better and all that kind of stuff. And yeah,
Yeah.
it's a very supportive community like overall, and I really
I
do
think
love it
so.
there.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think it's
Same.
awesome. Yeah.
Yeah.
And I
How
hope
long
it
have you
stays
been
that way.
on there?
Honestly, only since like last May or end of April. So
Yeah.
not that
Same.
long. Same
Same.
with you?
Mhm.
Oh,
Yeah.
wow. Look
Yeah.
at that.
Isn't
Yeah.
that's interesting? We're like
Yeah.
Substacks, twins, sort of.
Yeah. Yeah, it's just like we started at the same time, and then now we're in the same book together. And then we
Yeah.
did that whole little thingy my jig that
Uh-huh.
Rebecca put together.
Yes. That was awesome too.
That was
That was
actually a
so
lot of
fun.
fun. Yeah.
Yeah. Actually, I had more growth during those collaborations than ever.
Mm, I
So
noticed
my
that.
my coach was like, "You got to analyze all the work you've done to see what's working." And I'm like, "The collaborations are working." So
I
more of
think they
those.
are. Yeah,
Yeah.
it's kind
Yeah.
of yeah, you're right. I think that was what I didn't really look at my stats, but just kind of just looking at like just like the likes itself.
Mhm.
I was like, I didn't really even write anything on this. I literally just like did a little bit of intros for each one of you guys. Like I tagged everyone, introduced their work, and
Yep.
that got like the most engagement right off the bat. I was like, oh, very interesting. So I'm like, okay,
Yep.
maybe maybe more of that.
That's what I'm gonna
Yeah,
do. That's this
yeah,
year. Collaborations are the main
yeah.
focus, I think.
I think so. I think maybe that needs to happen more.
Uh-huh.
Yeah, yeah.
Love
Because
it.
even like so like I also write a lot of like wrestling articles.
Yes, I wanted to ask you about that.
Yeah,
Thank you
oh,
for bringing that up. I don't know anything about it, but I think that's so cool.
also another new thing I went down the rabbit hole with. Like I was
Good.
never a wrestling fan growing up. I thought it was as a kid. I like I know it's something that kids love, and a lot of my friends have loved it as a kid. I myself, as a kid, always thought it was stupid.
Yes.
And then last April, because our DM got sick, we ended
Yeah.
up. It was the same it was the same weekend as WrestleMania 40. So my husband decided to throw that on because The Rock came back, and The Rock was who he kind of grew up with and
Oh,
has
he
been a big
did.
fan with. Yeah, so he was
Oh.
starting to come back, and then there was a whole big thing, and then so he had it on, and I was watching it. And he's like, "Oh yeah, by the way, we don't have to watch this anymore." And I was like, "No, no, 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 leave it." I'm like, "What is this?" I'm
Interesting.
like, I barely know what this is. The only person I know is The Rock because of movies, and I knew
Uh-huh.
Rhea Ripley because she showed up on my TikTok a lot because like, I'm on like goth talk a lot, so like she's like, obviously like, Rhea Ripley would be on it. So and I was like, oh, okay, cool. And I'm like, my gosh, everyone looks fucking amazing. Their costumes are like out of this world. I'm like, move over, catwalks. This is where it's at. Like
Oh.
everyone looks great. The entrances were cool. The music was really cool. And I just kept watching it. I couldn't look away. And then like now I watch it twice a week. So like I watch Raw and SmackDown, and then I cover the pay-per-view events, or I guess the premium live events is what they're called now. Um, so I kind of
Oh.
cover those, and then I just kind of like do like a review for fun. But yeah, I noticed like the reviews that I do with Lamar, those are the ones that would get more engagement than the ones I would do by myself. So I'm like,
Oh.
I'm like, very interesting. So yeah, again, collabs, they work.
Hmm.
Yeah.
Hmm. Interesting. So you were drawn to that with the beauty of the costumes and
Yeah.
the show of it and the
Yeah.
creativity. I never knew that about
I
wrestling.
never did either. And I
Huh.
never realized how much storytelling there was. So everyone's a character.
Oh,
So
really?
yeah, so they're not just athletes, right? They're their characters. So like
Huh.
as someone who plays a lot of D&D, and I don't know if wrestling fans are going to like how I compare it, but like I have mentioned it in my writings before, but to
Yeah.
me, wrestling is like one massive D&D campaign, you know, with right now I guess Triple H is the guy running the show. With he's the DM. He's the one that books people. He's the one that gets them into the storylines and how they're gonna have like their rivalries, how their conflict starts building, or like I don't know, like love triangles. And yeah, love triangles exist in this world. Like I was like, wait, what?
Really?
Yeah,
Huh.
it was kind of mind blowing, like kind of learning all of that, and then like yeah, and then I just started like watching like older like playlists of like the wrestlers, of like the ones I like. I'm like, holy crap, they've come like a long way of like where their story was when they first started and now where they are. And I was like, oh, now they're a bad guy, or like now they're a good guy, you know? Like so again,
Oh.
it also is something that also helps with my writing, which I don't even realize. But I was just
Oh,
like,
cool.
yeah. But yeah, it's like
Yeah.
it's very different. But yeah, I like it for that. I like the product for what it is. I know like the fans can sometimes get very technical about it, or like but I don't know, to me like I'm just kind of like enjoying it because I kind of like the other aspects of it. I think it's cool.
It's inspiring.
Yeah.
And I'm a newbie with writing because I came from the academic kind of writing sphere. I started as a kiddo. I loved writing. And then, like you were saying, we got into our careers. I'm not saying anything bad about my career. It's just, it's very professional. And sometimes I need to just be me, you know.
Yeah,
So
yeah.
I went from academia and now I'm more writing for fun, and it's so different. But I was writing recently about we have to seek inspiration sometimes. Like we're going to have the writer's block and the
Yeah.
stuck times. And it sounds like this, like wrestling and the other like D&D,
Yeah.
your cats or cat is inspiring to you. It helps you to
Yeah.
continue to create.
Yeah, definitely. So I haven't actually hit a writer's block quite yet. I just have so many ideas like all the time because like they're just
Oh,
constantly coming in. I think I have the opposite problem. I have too many ideas where
oh,
sometimes I'm like, do I want to write this or do I want to write that? So I'll have like 10 drafts and I'm like, okay, I'm gonna pick this one. And I'm just gonna go with it and hope for the best.
good problem to have,
Yeah,
though.
I guess it's a good problem to have.
I have some of that too,
Yeah.
actually. So how do you focus and pick one at some point? Like what helps you choose?
That's a good question. That's a bit of a hard one too. I don't know. Sometimes it's kind of just like where my brain is going. If I can like just sit down and like I can like look at it. If it's something where like I can kind of feel like like ideas kind of like come pouring in, then I'll kind of pick that one. But if there's one where like I look at and I'm like, okay, I'll get to idea one, idea two, and then it stops. And I'm like, okay, maybe that's not the one. So then I'll just kind of move
Oh,
on to the next. And then
you go
sometimes
by
I'm like,
feeling.
oh, yeah,
Yeah.
it's got like that feeling, like I don't know, kind of like the chi kind of like running through you type thing, like it's gotta like flow from like top to bottom. If it doesn't, I'll move on to the next one. That's kind of how I pick, and then
Yeah.
I'll revisit them. So like I'm kind of glad I have like all these drafts because now like like oh now I can revisit it and I have something
Yeah.
new and I can improve it or something like that, or I have a different idea, a better one from what it originally was, stuff like
Yeah.
that. So it's just yeah, it's I don't really have a process for it, to be completely honest.
You do. It's not really written down or defined.
I
It
guess so.
happens.
Yeah, it's just it happens.
Hmm.
Yeah.
I love it.
Yeah.
What do you think of this is slightly related, but AI and writing? What are your thoughts? So you have this process, but what if, AI is helping you? How does that impact your process?
I
Or what do you
am
think?
on the fence where I love it. I'm on the other side of the fence. So I love AI. I think it is a tool. And
Yes.
it is, I think it is a great tool. It is just like the internet. When the internet first came out, people were like, "Oh my god, you will lose my job. The devil is here." Stuff like that. Right? It is. This is that. This is now the new internet, I guess.
Yes.
It's yeah, but it's literally just it's a tool you can use. What it just
Mhm.
does is that like things that would have taken me months is now taking me days.
Yes.
Right? And it helps. Like sometimes you can just hit that little block, be like, oh, I can't figure out how to say this. Can you help me with that?
Yes.
And then
Yes.
it'll give you something. But that doesn't necessarily mean you have to use it. If you're
Right.
using it, well, then then maybe you shouldn't be using AI in the first place. But, like what it gives you, and you can rewrite that to
Yes.
you.
Yep.
Like what I honestly think there's nothing wrong with that. It saves you time and
Yes.
you can do more things. Like I would not be able to write and illustrate at the same time had it not been for with like the help of like AI and all that kind of stuff. It also helps you like organize things as
Oh
well
yeah.
too, right? Like
Yeah.
it doesn't write for me. Sure, I will use AI art in some of my work, not all of it. Like only some where like, well, I don't have a drawing or I don't have a picture of something and it's very unique to how I want it to look. I'll use AI for it. There's nothing wrong with that. And
Right.
it's
You're
like
right.
whatever. Yeah. But then when it comes to like me writing my book, I do everything by hand. Everything is pre-drawn on my iPad. Like it's
Neat.
mine, right? So like it's a tool. And I think people just need to realize that, it's okay to use because like we've technically always have been using it. It's just now
Yes.
it's a bit of a buzzword. And I
Mhm.
feel like it's kind of like, like people like just kind of like using it. But I'm like, something as simple as like autocorrect has actually
Yep.
it is right
It's a
and it's
form
been
of it.
it is a form of it and it's been
Mhm.
around for a long time.
Mhm.
Yeah, and I honestly don't think AI will replace us. I honestly think if anything it will make better writers.
I agree with you
Yeah,
completely. It's a tool.
it's a tool.
Let's use it wisely.
Yeah.
Let's use it ethically.
Hmm.
I think they're just writing the AI ethics. I think they're still even
Yeah.
just looking into that. But yeah, let's not have it write our stories, but
Yeah,
it can help us
exactly.
organize our thoughts,
Yeah.
you know, help
Yeah.
us reword. Um,
Exactly.
mhm.
Yeah. And it makes us better writers in a way where now it kind of dries out that competition because you're going to have the group of people who will take advantage of that, be like, hey, I'm just going to get AI to write it for me. Well, eventually people will catch on, right?
Oh
So
yeah.
now, in order for you to be completely different, you have to be better than AI. So, in my opinion, we're going to have a new generation of very good writers because of AI.
Ooh, I love that. I'm
That's
gonna
just,
quote that. We're going to have a generation of better writers because of AI. Yeah, I'm probably gonna emphasize that and underline it and have like, yeah, because I like AI. I've only been
I like,
using it. I mean,
yeah.
I've used it for a while, but I finally started paying for ChatGPT recently, and oh my goodness, I have made like 5 little GPTs, and they are all so helpful. And they're
Yeah.
my little elves. They're my little
Yeah,
elves. They help.
exactly. Yeah, they help. Yeah, and I'll
Yeah.
use and thank you to them.
Uh-huh.
You never know.
Yes, they help me organize, they help me with my
Exactly.
neurodivergentness. They're
Yes.
like, "Okay, yes, you need to fold that laundry,
Yeah.
at some point. Get out of your rabbit hole and let's focus on something you need to
Yeah.
get done, or
Yeah.
whatnot." Anyway.
Yeah. No, exactly. But that's exactly that's what it's good for. Like those brain dump sessions that you have.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Yep.
Type it all in. He'll organize everything for you. You don't have to sit there for 2 hours trying to figure out how to organize it because you're probably overwhelmed and you're going to bed
Yes.
anyways.
Yes.
Why not have something do it for you in like literally 2 seconds so you can go off and like, like write your poem, draw your illustrations, write a new story that you've been wanting to, or play
Yes.
a video game you've been wanting to. Like it's again,
Y
it's a tool.
Yep.
Yeah.
Very true.
Utilize it. Just utilize it.
Yep. I like what Jake Anderson, he was on my show.
Oh yeah,
He
I
called
listened to that
it
one.
Oh, did
Yeah.
you? He's great. He's really good. He
Mhm.
called them assistants, which I like.
Yes. Yeah.
Mhm.
Yeah, that's it. That is exactly what they are. Yeah.
Yeah, they assist. They don't
Yeah.
replace, they just
I don't
assist.
replace.
That's it.
Yeah.
I love it. That's so cool.
Exactly. Yeah. And
Mhm.
if anything, it's just like jobs evolve all the time, right? Like
Yeah.
it might replace certain roles, but then that role will now evolve to something else. Like obviously, like before newspaper, you had the guy going around yelling "Hear ye, hear ye." Obviously, that guy doesn't exist anymore. So now, like eventually, newspapers will exist. So now it's kind of like, what is that new role gonna look like? So yeah,
Mhm.
yeah,
Yeah, maybe it's a form of blogging,
yeah.
maybe it's like a newspaper that it's like they have tons of bloggers. I don't know what that's gonna look
Yeah,
like.
we don't know what it's gonna
Maybe
look
that's
like.
already
It's
there.
yeah,
I'm out of the loop in a lot of ways. I don't know, but
yeah,
we just
but
have to rework it.
exactly. We just gotta adapt. Just gotta adapt. I
Mhm.
mean, sure, like vent about it for like a little bit, but then like just adapt to it. Just it's not
Yeah,
going anywhere.
let's
You can
grow.
complain all you want. It's not gonna go anywhere.
Yep, I was complaining for a while. I
Yeah.
was on the other side for a while until I saw how awesome AI is. Oh my goodness, and I'm so nerding out with
Yeah.
AI. Anyway, it makes my life
That's
easier.
awesome. Yeah. It's just about having an open mind, right? That's kind of what it
Mhm.
comes down to. I mean, there's always gonna be things that we resist, right? But
Yes,
it's
yes.
just like, you know, it's not going anywhere. Might as well adapt to it. Let's see what it's like. You never know if
Yep,
you like it.
let's just try
You
it.
never know. Let's try it.
Let's not, be so mean about it when we haven't even tried it.
Yeah, exactly. You
Yeah,
can't bash it till you try
um,
it.
yep. Is there anything else you wanted to tell us about or other projects or your process or just chat about anything in particular? What do you wanna
It was more so actually, I do have a question like for you though, because it's kind of something like I struggle with. I find as like a writer or like someone who's doing like a whole business from ground up by myself. What are some of the things that you help find that kind of like get you past those like hurdles? Because you know how like how do I say this? You know how like sometimes you have like that day, it's like, oh man, am I doing the right thing? Maybe I should just go back to LinkedIn and apply for like 10 jobs or something like that, right? Go back
Yeah.
to what I wanted
Yeah.
to leave behind. Like I just want to give up, right? But then you're like, oh no, if I put so much work into this, what do I do? Like what are some of the things that like that you find that helps you kind of get past that?
Ooh, good question. So I have 2 businesses now. My first business, I had to work for others for a while and build it because it needed some time to grow,
Mhm.
and for me to be able to, make enough to be able to continue to build it, but not give up on it. So is
Yeah.
that kind of what you're talking about? Like,
Yeah.
okay, like getting through the I'm not making
Getting
enough right now, and
yeah.
I hear that. Been there. Yeah, so I worked for others for a while, but then also being neurodivergent, I feel like I work best on my own,
Yeah.
so staying the path even when you're running into difficulty, you're not making enough sometimes, like the ebb and flow of income been there.
Yeah.
It's been hard building this second business, my business coaching business, because the market's flooded with business coaches and it's
Mhm.
like I'm just another in the sea of business coaches that are like, oh, follow me. I know the way. When, yes, I do know some things. I don't know everything. And I do know that some people are like, oh, you'll get $3,000, blah, 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 in a week if you do this, or, get 5 clients in, a month or whatnot.
Yeah.
I know that stuff doesn't always happen. So trying to compete there, that can be difficult. What are you noticing like with authors? Are you feeling like what are you noticing are some of the hurdles you're jumping through? What do you
Well, I mean, the hurdles are, well, one, marketing. As
Mm,
someone who just loves to create, the hardest part is marketing, right? So like, like being on your social medias all the time, engaging with people and all that kind of stuff. You want to do it like organically because like I don't want to be that person that's like, oh, buy my book, buy my book, buy my book.
oh, I know,
Yeah,
same.
right?
Like,
Uh,
follow
yeah,
me. I've got
yeah,
the answers. Like,
yeah, exactly. You kind of want it to be like, like where you you can still be yourself. You can chat about like other kind of stuff, engage with like all like the cool stuff that you're really into as well too. And then also at the same time be like, hey, I'm also kind of like working on this, but then you're not really pushing it on them. I don't know. Maybe it's just I don't know.
Oh,
Maybe
the
it's just
tip
not like the
jar.
selling.
I don't know if you saw, like, I try to put that, I mean, I don't want to do it all the time,
Yeah.
or I'm like an affiliate too, like, oh,
Yeah.
where do you throw that in?
Exactly. It's like, oh, this is a paid sponsorship. It's like, ah, I don't really want to say that. It's stuff
Yep.
like that. I find like the marketing is
Mhm.
tough. And then there's also times where you're like, oh, it's just better for someone else to just tell me what to do, like plugging in
Yeah.
numbers all the time rather than because like you do everything, right? You do everything yourself. You're reaching out to clients,
You're a
you're building
DIYer.
pretty much, yeah. And it's all trial and error. And then there are times where you're just like, man, I almost want to just give up.
Been there. Oh, yeah. I'll
Yeah.
be like, I still feel like that sometimes. Totally. I think it's normal. I just want to like validate that. I think it's
Yeah.
normal. Part of this, so that's partly why I'm collaborating with Jake. So you saw that one video.
Mhm.
We're on Monday. I'm going to pick his brain with others. So I'm inviting everyone to attend for free,
Nice.
where we're picking his brain about website building. So
Mm.
one, do you have a website?
I do.
Okay.
I don't
Well,
have a domain though, but I did build one.
okay. What is
Yeah.
it? And I'll put it on here too.
But this is the site. Like everything was built. I have like all like the partners I've worked with on there. I just have to like build a domain. I just basically have to go out and pay for something. I just haven't done it yet because I don't want to pay for it yet.
I hear you. This is something, though. I think it's good to start small. And that's
Yeah.
what Jake and I were talking about. Don't pay for all the things yet. You know,
Exactly.
get your name out there first.
Yeah.
But sometimes you have to pay for some things depending, but I don't know
Oh yeah.
tons about these kind of things. But
Mhm.
he's going to talk about this kind of stuff on Monday. But let
Ooh.
me put this on here. Yeah, are you free at 12 ET on Monday, this upcoming Monday?
12 ET, so that's 10 a.m. my time. Yeah, I can make that work.
Okay,
Yeah.
you're invited.
Oh, yay.
I'll send you the link, and all you got to
Awesome.
do is sign up.
Yeah.
I think you put in your email and your name,
Oh, sweet.
and let's pick his brain. He's a web design expert.
Ah,
I'm
okay.
still learning.
Yeah.
I know some about building different businesses, but I don't know all the stuff with like search engine optimization. Blogging helps with
Yeah.
that,
Yeah.
but does it still help? That's one of the questions I've kind of told him I'm going to ask him. He's
Oh,
preparing answers.
yeah.
But if you have some questions now about website building, I could send them to him ahead of time to prepare, so he can research and stuff. Do you have any particular questions about website building?
I think my biggest one actually was the one that you just brought up with the whole SEO thing, because like that was something that I did pay for a course while I was trying to write, just to like, because I was kind of looking into more like, oh, becoming like an SEO type writer. But then I also realized like a lot of things I've been hearing though is that SEOs now are kind of starting to become a little bit, what's that word?
Hmm.
Like it's not very relevant anymore.
Right. Yeah, like
Yeah.
hashtags too, I
Yeah.
hear. Oh,
Oh
I
yeah,
need to ask
hashtags
him
don't
about
even
that.
work anymore. Yeah,
Uh,
hashtags. Yeah, that doesn't really like obviously like platforms like Instagram, complete utter crap by the way.
uh,
That you can't
Instagram, you
grow
hate
again.
Instagram too?
Oh yeah, I do. I hate Meta. That's why I'm
Yes.
on BlueSky now. And honestly, I'm not even gonna lie. I literally just got Red Note because of the whole TikTok ban thing.
Yes. Oh, I've heard of that. I just heard about it.
Yeah,
Okay.
so like I'm on there with all my American friends. I know I'm in Canada, but like I'm like it's all just vibes there. If it's just vibes, that's all really what I want. Like that's how I want to build my relationships, including like business relationships. All based on vibes. The products will come later, like if you like it, fine. Great. If you don't
Yes.
like it, I'm totally okay with that. Yeah, but I'm
Mhm.
not gonna like take something and shove it down your throat with ads and stuff like that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Where would you like people to contact you?
Yes, the two best place would probably be through my Substack, so
Okay.
at Catacombs or at the Catacombs. Also the same thing. I have a BlueSky as well too, which is also called the Catacombs. like
Okay.
Katacombs. Yeah, so those are the best two best places to reach me at.
Yeah.
Emails are okay. I mean, if you really want to send an email, that's great too.
Yeah. Email is
Yeah.
not dead.
Yeah.
People have said it is, but it's not. So,
It's not like it's
mhm.
just because it just floods. People get inundated with enough in their inbox already. You just become another thing in their inbox, and it's not the greatest thing. Probably the best way
Sure.
is probably like a DM through my
Mhm.
Substack or my BlueSky. Yeah.
Okay. Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, so we'll put that there. And then I'm just going to say goodbye to the business nerds. So thank you everyone for joining. Please follow Kathy and goodbye, business nerds. Okay.